Okay, moving on. Our next presenter is Mr. Stefan Janichewski, who's the head of defense and aerospace market at the Atos group. Stefan has an extraordinary amount of experience, over 33 years in international exposure, and a strong passion for addressing institutional and business challenges in defense and aerospace. We're very much looking forward to his presentation this morning on Defense 2020, Answering to a New World of Tension. Alexander, very good morning. Thank you very much. And there's the
Thank you.
Green.
Thank you. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great pleasure for me to be here and to share with you some reflections about the future of military systems, in particular due to the leverage of IT and how it interconnects with cybersecurity. Well, cybersecurity is part of those global IT evolutions, but of course having new generation of systems create new vulnerabilities, and as such require new cybersecurity systems. So these are reflections with, in fact, a short perspective. It is 2020, just because it is very difficult to anticipate the evolution of IT beyond that. When we talk about 2020, and you will see that in the different systems, we are talking about existing technology, emerging systems, not yet deployed, but that could be deployed very, very quickly. So we are, in fact, talking about tomorrow, but really tomorrow, not beyond. So, if it works, okay. So, well, I will not go into general comments about why we need even more than before information dominance. That's very obvious that we are in a very unstable world with new kind of enemies, new kind of interventions, and so on and so on. Just two messages. Well, first, clearly, as I said, information dominance is even more important, but in a very much more complex configuration. And second, we do think, and that's a strong conviction, that the best way to meet this need is to leverage IT. When I say IT, it's civilian IT. It's this extraordinary trend of new technology that are available. Of course, they have to be adapted to the military environment, but that's something which is very powerful. So, it is all about, in fact, this loop. This is a loop of the data management, I would say, coming from collection, storage, process, and decision, and after communication of the decision. This is a loop of the data management. What is important for information dominance is to have this loop going faster and faster, and in a very safe and secured way. So data security is clearly in the heart of that. Just because we need to refresh, to provide information, but to refresh it, to have it real time. And the big IT that can contribute to this loop going faster and faster are clearly, well, first of all, the evolution of the sensors, collecting more and more data, but also by introducing artificial intelligence in the sensors, you can really, at this age, start to having something much more powerful. The second is about clearly data analytics, what we call big data. It is now possible because we have the storage capability, even at local level. We have also the process, the computing capability, which has increased, and so we are able now really to process the data even at local level, even at tactical level, and to create, for instance, a kind of tactical bubbles, fully autonomous, in which you have big data capability. And the last one I wanted to mention is globally the tactical communication. Because now we can have, through new technology, new generation of tactical communications, which may be less secure than the traditional one, but much more powerful and efficient and user-friendly. So it comes to a kind of connected battlefield in which this loop can go faster and faster. So just to go a little bit and to focus a little bit. So first aspect is we can really have collaborative combat. This is not only new tools, as you can see, but it is a real change of doctrine. Augmented soldiers with soldiers who are fully connected, of course. This connection brings new capacity. Tactical communication, I will come back on that. Data management, when I say data management, it's end-to-end data management, end-to-end massive data management. And cybersecurity, that's part of the global IT trends, and clearly defense system can benefit from it as well. Let's go a little bit into details. First, collaborative combat. What we can do today is to provide fully real-time awareness of a tactical situation for an aero-terrestrial combat theater. When I say real-time, I say that the tactical situation can be updated by anybody, and anybody can have this updated situation. This is also a system in which we have direct connection between the different actors. And it allows, to be very reactive and flexible. And this is a system which is fundamentally user-friendly. And in particular, if we use agile methodology, we can develop the user interface in close connection with the final users and be sure when it pops up at the end of the development that it is fully aligned with the expectation. So this kind of battle management systems create the backbone of the connection in the battlefield. And this is a very key evolution. What IT have provided in terms of new things, well, the agile methodology clearly has really changed the paradigm of those developments. Next is the connected soldiers and the augmented soldiers. So it is all about, we have today the technology to connect all the soldiers, and so we can really bring to them any kind of information available in the tactical bubble I was mentioning before. For instance, about intelligence, about enemy behavior, about geolocalization, whatever. It can also, through connection, provide some medical assistance, for instance, or remote medical assistance. it can connect the solder to other tools, for instance, drones. So this is very powerful. This is possible. This is a little bit dangerous. Beyond the aspect of cybersecurity, I will come back to that because it introduces clearly new vulnerabilities, but it is also dangerous because we have to be very cautious about not saturating the solder with too many information he doesn't care. So really select the good information he does need. But this is quite possible. Now, about tactical communication, the real evolution that we see now is the introduction and the combination of LTE and 4G or 5G networks. And now we can really introduce this kind of technology with a seamless connection and switch between the two kind of networks. And it really opens a very broad avenue, I would say, of new applications, new capabilities, because it is all about using smartphone, which of course are by definition very user-friendly, and internet systems. So it changes completely the approach between the soldier and the users and the tactical systems. So, of course, it is complement to other more robust systems, but this is very efficient for many, many use cases that we can see. Of course, there is security, but I will come back on that. It is fully possible to use those technologies, but to secure them at each slice, at each, I would say, edge, to have, at the end, a good level of security. Now, data. Well, data, it's we are used to say that's the oil, the new oil of all kind of activities. This is also true for defense. And the real question is, how can we really use, I would say, dedicated artificial intelligence to exploit all the data that we can today collect, store, process, and compute. So this is really the very beginning of thinking about what can be these use cases. What is very important is that it is not only, a headquarter process. It can be also local process with edge computing, with swarm computing, with mobile and remote data centers, whatever. We can have this kind of capability at tactical level. So again, it changes fully the game because we can really envisage to have those famous tactical bubbles and to introduce not only connection, but the real capability to develop information and to broadcast this information inside the bubble. Now, cybersecurity has, of course, also its own evolution by itself. It's all about, improving the overall organization of cybersecurity. It's all about, organization, process, and so on. And we can always do better, in particular regarding the training, because the human factor is very important. But also the tools are improving, of course. For instance, for identity and access management, for IoT. IoT is key, and now we know how to secure properly an IoT systems by architecture, by a certain number of measures, by policy, by patch, and so on and so on. And I would just focus on one point which is very important, is the adaptive cybersecurity. So the capacity through big data, thanks to big data, really to anticipate the threats, to find the weak signals of potential attacks, and so to be able to get protected before it happens, to reconfigure in real time the networks when the attack occurs. This is really the edge of what we can do, in particular in Security Operational Center, and this is, thanks to the capability I was mentioning, fully possible to have it at tactical level as well. So it means, I come back to my bubble, it means that we can have predictive and adaptive cybersecurity protection capability at bubble level. So fully autonomous also in terms of cybersecurity. Now, the real question is, okay, we see, and that's very obvious, that we can have now very quickly, with short cycle development time, new generation of systems. They lead to something which is fully interconnected. So it's nice to have interconnection, but of course, the great drawback is that interconnection leads to more vulnerability in terms of cybersecurity. So this is a good opportunity. This is also a high risk, and we have to use the best of cybersecurity, and that's the good news because it improves its own capability as well, to use the best of cybersecurity to protect the system. So how can we do? I will not go too much into details, of course. Well, first of all, there are no miracle, of course, in cybersecurity, but we can have really significant improvements. First of all, the very basic cybersecurity measures have to be used, and it comes from the top national global cybersecurity policy to be implemented in the different programs, in the different organizations, using, of course, well-proven cybersecurity solutions. And we can use the best of existing tools. When I talk about adaptive security operational center, it does exist. So we can do that. And we can also anticipate, and this is the vision that we have, new systems, new technology that will really improve things in terms of cybersecurity. I would like just to mention three. Self-adaptive defense. So we are only at the very beginning of exploring the potential of big data for cybersecurity. Because clearly, as soon as you get all the data, you get a maximum of information about your enemy behavior, including what it does on networks, on communications, and so on. It is clear that you can have also, I would say, cybersecurity intelligence, and you can also, in real time, prepare your proactive answer. The second technology I would like to mention is Oma Morphic Encryption. So today, there is a vulnerable point in the overall data management process loop, is that as soon as you have to compute the data, you have to, make it clear, so it cannot keep it encrypted when you need to process it. So now with homomorphic encryption that will emerge, you can have a real end-to-end process in which you can process your encrypted data, and so you decrypt your data only at user level. So only the user with the dedicated key can do that. So that's another aspect about the loop, about securing an end-to-end secure approach of the loop. And then also there are a lot of improvements about equipment, what I would call trusted equipment. So being sure that in all the layers of system that you have, you have some basic bricks with its own best level of security. For instance, we are working on high level of secure smartphone, secure operating system, secure ports, secure, not only in terms of software, but also about the physical. So by just using this kind of building block, you improve the overall security of the system. So just as a conclusion, we have new IT leading to new generation of systems. It's not for maybe today, but it's for tomorrow. When I say tomorrow, it's before 2020. But it introduces a lot of vulnerability. The good news is that cybersecurity is also progressing, improving, and by improving over the time your cybersecurity systems, you can have a very proper answer to these new challenges. So thank you very much for your attention.